back. I am here for part 2 of my book club's reading of What We Forgot to Bury. So this week we read chapters 14 through 26. So we are basically halfway through the book now. And after my last part that I did of this, I can say that I am more interested in the characters now at least, and more interested in the story that's going on, but overall I'm still very baffled by a lot of what's going on. I just don't understand why these characters are so intent on spending time with each other. Elle's motivations I kind of get and kind of feel like we've gotten, because she talks about how she's basically trying to do some sort of revenge on Charlotte because Charlotte did something to her father and got him in jail and ruined her life. So, I kind of get Elle's perspective on it. But Charlotte's, I don't understand. She's got all these different, fears and social anxieties and things, and particularly even of, Elle herself. And yet, in, this section, she stopped off multiple times at Elle's school and picked her up. She took her to do her hair. She paid for a hair appointment. She paid for, a doctor's appointment for Elle. Because, I guess, mild spoilers, it turns out they're both pregnant, and knowing that Elle's from, lower class and not really having the money for it, she's like, we gotta make sure your baby's taken care of, so I'm gonna take you to a doctor, and I'm gonna pay for it for you. And I don't understand what's motivating Charlotte to do all this. Maybe to some degree there's, the pity that, oh, this girl's in a poor situation, and I can help her out and make things better for her. But I still don't get it, and maybe, I guess, some of it is in part to the familiarity that Charlotte keeps referencing with her, because she's had several times, especially in this part, where it's there was something that was familiar about Elle, but she wasn't sure, and so maybe, I guess, some of that could be driving it, but I personally don't get it. And that was actually one of the questions that I addressed to the book club this week, was basically, if you were in Charlotte's shoes and this teenager had showed up on your doorstep the way that Elle did, do you think you would end up being as attached? And that you would be doing the things like paying for her hair appointments and doctor's appointments and things like that. And that's basically my answer, is that I don't understand why she's so motivated to do this, other than maybe some pity. So I guess from that perspective, I'd maybe be trying to help at least a little bit, but I don't know that I'd be as persistent with it as Charlotte is, because like I said, she has gone to Elle's school multiple times and just picked her up and stuff and been I need companionship, let's do stuff, kind of a thing. And I don't entirely understand where she's coming from with that. And also with these kind of secrets that are still there in the story, I'm feeling a lot like it would be better if the story had been told from just one perspective. If it was just Elle's story and we were getting her vengeance plot the whole way through, or it was just Charlotte's story and this strange kid shows up on her doorstep, everyone's kind of puzzled at what's going on, and then eventually the secrets get revealed. Because my frustration that's still kind of going on with this is now that I'm feeling a little more invested in the characters. Every time it feels like something is really getting me interested in wanting to see what happens next in the story, it jumps to the other character. And it's a really disjointed way to read, to feel oh, the exciting thing's happening, but now we're going to this other person. As well as, oh, I'm finally interested in this character, but now I have to read this other character. So that's kind of a big frustration that I'm still having with it. And then I talked about in the first part that the dedication for this book talks about how it's dedicated to women who have had miscarriages. And based on what's been revealed in this section, I'm pretty sure Charlotte had a miscarriage, and that's where some of her fears and things stem from. It sounds like it was an altercation with Elle's father, even, and that he either pushed her down the stairs or she fell down the stairs and blamed him and had a miscarriage at that point. So I get that that's part of what the dedication is referring to, but now since both Elle and Charlotte are also pregnant, again in Charlotte's case and for the first time in Elle's case, I'm worried that we're going to be dealing with another miscarriage, and I still don't really know that I want to deal with that topic in this book. I feel like there are other things that it's trying to do that would work much better than running into another one of those. But having never read this author, I don't know how that's going to work either. It could just be that, yes, she's only referencing to the one that Charlotte's had, and that's caused her all that trauma, and there won't be anything else like that. But especially with Elle being in a poor situation and not even always having food to eat, I could see it kind of going the other way too. So definitely a little concern on my end about that. I also, as part of this, asked a little bit about trauma and things, because Elle and Charlotte get into a discussion about why Charlotte's in therapy, and she basically says that my therapist says that we got to talk through our traumas in order to get past them. And so I asked my writing group if they agreed with that. Not my writing group, my book club, if they agreed with that. And I think overall that I do too. Sometimes it's definitely hard to talk about your traumas and feel like it'll make it worse to dredge up those things, but overall it does seem like in the majority of cases it's a good way to work past things. So that's kind of my feelings on that. And then at the end of this part too, in chapter 26 and maybe a little bit of 25, we find out that Charlotte has been mugged and Elle has to go to the police station to go help her out, and that's kind of like the ensuing incident, and I'm actually curious where the story's going to go from here. But earlier in this part, Elle had been talking with Justin, who's her boyfriend, and, well, kind of ex-boyfriend. I don't know where they stand at this point, because he's upset that she's pregnant and doesn't want that, but at the same time, after having that discussion, they're now having this discussion about Charlotte and how we can rob her, because she's this big rich lady, and that'll help us be able to support whatever happens with this baby. And then Charlotte ends up getting mugged, and I'm not sure if I'm convinced or not, but my question was, if, having had that discussion, if my book club thought that the mugger was Justin. And on my end, like I said, I'm kind of torn about it. I could see it being Justin because they had talked about it, but on the other hand, why would he have known that she was gonna be there? Has he ever actually even seen Charlotte before? So I'm a little torn on that. Also, just how well prepared the mugger seemed, being like dressed all in black and a black ski mask and all that kind of thing, doesn't quite seem like Justin to me, but I don't know. I've never seen him rob things, so who knows? It could be him. But yeah, that's kind of what I've got going on with the book club this time. Like I said, finally being like halfway, I'm getting a little more interested in the characters. I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm still not like the most invested in it, and I really hope our next book club book isn't a suspense, just to kind of give us a break from all that. And I'm still really annoyed with the way Elle's pursuing things, and that she hasn't just revealed more of the secrets to the reader yet. But I'm curious to see where it goes and what happens after the smugging. So I think that's pretty much my review of this point. But yeah, if you happen to have read this and have any comments of your own, feel free to comment below. I'd love to have discussions about this. And I think that's all I've got for now. This is the Umlaut Harper, signing out.